Hi, Misha here, and thought I would do a quick kind of preview and thoughts video on Eaglemoss's 6th star fleet Shuttle Pack. These come in sets of 4, so you pretty much get them all if you want them. And they each have a little box and a little manual and little LCARS display. Full disclosure, because I seem to have to do that with these Star Trek videos, I am blind, so I am doing my best to point. Sorry. Doing what I can do. Anywho, what do we have? Well, first we have the Sphinx work pod, which is one that kind of puzzled me. Hard to find information on it. Next, we have one that I was really looking forward to, and one that's been teased for probably the longest time. This is the Type 18 Shuttle Pod from USS Defiant from Deep Space Nine, seen in, I think, 3 episodes. Next, we have one that didn't really think much about, but now that we have it, it's kind of neat. This is the Hawking from Star Trek Generations, and it's an interesting blend of kind of old and new. And then finally we have something that's certainly futuristic. This is Janeway's so-called armored shuttle, often referred to as SC-4 for its designation seen on screen. Sometimes referred to as a modified Type 18H shuttle. So yeah, we have one from Voyager, one from the TNG movies, one from Deep Space Nine, and kind of a wild card here. The Sphinx almost seems to be one that maybe was never seen on screen, or if it was just in the background in a painting or something. This is essentially a complement or a successor to the Work Bee that we've seen since the original motion picture. It's got kind of this tractor in the back, or bed for hauling things, anti-grav, I'm sure. It's got little manipulator arms in the front for attachments. This is not a shuttlecraft, this is a utility craft for sure. Like with Eaglemoss's Work Bee, it has a clear cockpit. I have no idea what's inside. No, I'm not going to crack it open to feel, but hopefully you maybe can see. I'm doing what I can do. It's pretty weighty, especially on the bottom. The top is plastic, and the bottom metal, meaning it sits on the stand quite well. It's one of those things that I don't think anyone really was just super excited to get, especially since, unlike the Work Bee, this is not as seen on screen really. It's more of a early next generation concept from Andrew Probert, I believe. But it definitely adds to the realism having a workship, and we've had others in the collection, so why not? As for the Type 18 here, again, this is one they've said was coming pretty much since the beginning of the shuttle collections. We had to wait till the 6th one. We've had the Chaffee, which is actually this shuttle's replacement. The real world explanation is the shooting miniature was stolen. In universe, the Chaffee's a larger, more capable craft. This is a true shuttle pod, kind of like our Type 15 from the Enterprise. At least 2, perhaps 4, were on board the Defiant. It could carry at least 2, but probably up to 6 uncomfortably when a ship's blowing up or losing air. You can get a lot of people in a small space, I'm sure. It's said not to be warp capable, but then there are these drives in the back, which look like compact nacelles. And the thing is, in an episode of Deep Space Nine, we see, at least in a simulation, one of these going all the way from pretty deep in the Gamma Quadrant to the wormhole. I know in the episode it does take them a lot of time, but if this were sublight only, it would take them literally decades, if not centuries. I think people still don't quite comprehend how big space is. So it seems like it maybe has limited warp. Even warp 2 would be enough to satisfy the episode. It's quite large. Pretty light, but not completely light. It definitely still feels like it has metal. One thing I really like about it, unlike a lot of the shuttles, thanks to these skids on the bottom, it fits on the stand really nicely. Hard to maybe do one-handed, but it kind of just slides in between. Very nice. The hawking. I'm always a sucker for TOS and TMP shuttles. And even though this was in Generations, we had the Galileo in Collection 5 from Star Trek 5. This is almost identical. See, it's got kind of the movie style nacelles. The windows have been updated a bit. The pennants have been updated. The insignia. Basically, it's just a pretty light redress of the Galileo from the late 23rd century, even though we see it in a movie taking place around 2371. In universe, it looks like it's a little larger than a Type 6 shuttlecraft, a little longer, so maybe a little more of a deep space. We know the Type 6 is capable of warp, so since this was seen in the 8th year of the Enterprise's mission, we have to assume it's warp capable. This was mostly seen in Generations when it rescued Picard, Jean-Luc Picard, from the planet after the crash. It'll fit really nice in between the Galileo, which I've sometimes seen referred to as a Type 4, and our regular Type 6, so we can almost call it a Type 5 head cannon and whatnot. It's a nice model, very weighty. Top is the metal, bottom is our plastic. But yeah, it's one I didn't know I wanted till I got it, and I'm like, yeah, that fits really well. I like completing collections. And then finally, Janeway shuttle. This is one I had no idea what it looked like. And it's reasons like this that I always like these little models, because I can finally know what a lot of things look like. People say it's the model itself is an updated Class 2 or Type 9 shuttle from Voyager, and it is. The back is filled in. The nose is more pointy. But it also kind of reminds me of the Type 11 shuttle from Insurrection. How long and thin it is. What do you think? And of course it's armored to fight the Borg. I'll be honest, it wasn't really what I wasn't looking forward to this one much. I don't really care much for one-off ships. I like more standard fleet ships. But as I get it, I really like it. It's very solid feeling. It's one of the heaviest of the four. Very metal. And hey, at least it's from the last episode of a series. So yeah, collection 6. I really have to wonder if this is the last one, because I don't know, unless they really get into support craft, what they'll do next. They tend to do 2 well-known ones, and then 2 kind of lesser-known ones or variants. That's how they've been doing the collections, which is a good way to do if you want people to spend their money. Certainly the Sphinx is lesser known. I'd say I'm not alone in anticipating the Type 18. The Hawking, we've had so many others very similar to it, but still yet, it's nice to have since it was on the big screen. And I would imagine, even though I wasn't super excited about it, Voyager fans were wanting this model, and I gotta admit, it's better than I expected. So yeah, I'll do more of a in-universe talking about specs and things a little later time. I just wanted to rush this out since he's came in. Appreciate you tuning in. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.